Monday night from 7 to 9 p.m. only on WMSK Online Radio. Make sure you download the app. Check us out on YouTube at WMSK Online Radio. Tonight we got some nice, sexy topics for y'all. We're going to be talking about why women keep allowing men to fuck and they ain't even busting a nut. But before we get to that, we have a few housekeeping things going on. Focus Movers offers affordable moving rates, fast and reliable service, free moving quotes, commercial and residential, local and long distance, last second and emergency moves, locally owned and operated in a 24-hour call center. Call today, 443-506-7905, or book online at focusmovers.com. Hey, Auntie, I'll call you when we get offline. We are waiting for the guys to get here because they know they're about to get an ass whooping. This is a boys versus girl edition of the Open Wide with Neeuq show. So you may not want to miss this. Hey, Chris Cox. So State vs. Us magazine is your official source to the streets from prison, highlighting high-profile cases, corruption in the police department, government, the prison system, wrongful convictions, and success stories of the formerly incarcerated. If you or someone you know has a story to tell, want a feature or ad space, please email statevsurmag@gmail.com. Get your print or digital copy today at statevsurmag.com. www.WMSK Online Radio is looking for jazz, gospel, entertainment, fashion, Latin, Caribbean, community, and other type shows. If you or someone you know are interested, please send us an email to WMSKonlineradio@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We are the leader in talk radio. Make sure you visit www.mskonlineradio and join our mailing list for updates, shows, and more. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WMSK Online Radio. All right. So, hey, y'all. How y'all doing? We're waiting on the guys because they scared. One is trying to get some chicken wings because he needs some protein in his life to be able to handle this discussion that we're about to have. But I do have a special guest in the building. Missy, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I am Quasia Smith. I am one of the hostesses, former co-workers with the state of Maryland. And thank you for having me on the show.
No problem. We definitely have to represent the girl power. But before the guys get here, we were talking a little bit offline. And it's something that I just feel like we just need to talk about a little bit. There was a meme or discussion that was posted online where a guy took a female out. He paid for the whole dinner and asked her to cover the tip. She got upset. She walked out. To say the least, she did not pay the tip. And the question is who was wrong?
Well, when we were talking about that, I said, well, off the top, I think she was.
Okay.
In that sense, because, it's just a tip at the end of the day. If he's taking care of the larger part of the bills or incurred the cost for all of the dates, what you might say, then the tip should not have been that big of a deal. However, because it didn't say whether they talked about that before they even went on the date, to discuss the particulars.
So if I'm talking about this before I go on a date, I'm not thinking I want to go.
And see, that's where communication, it gives you options. So if somebody says, come on, let's go do X, Y, Z, and you're like, okay, and they're like, I'm picking you up, I'm taking you out, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pay for everything, but you want to leave the tip?
I think that's tacky. I think that's tacky. If we're talking about it in advance, I think that's a little tacky. Like I don't even think I want to.
It has its tackiness, but at the same time, I just think because nowadays women are so forward,
mm-hmm.
we we're now the money makers. You know what I mean? We're now equaling out the men in terms of the finance. So in some ways, I personally wouldn't have been bothered by it, but and then it depends on who it is.
So do you think it was a test? Like he's asking her to pay the tip?
And it could have been. And
Right.
sometimes guys will do little silly, because I think it's a pathetic test. Because if I'm not in such a great mood, I'm failing.
Yeah, I mean,
I will fail big time.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm not even going.
You know what
I'm not even going. Not that after we got there, I would leave the tip anyway. Just you did pay for the whole tip. I would be okay with leaving the.
But here's the thing. Like I said, you've given me options. So you want me to leave the tip? Fine. I'm gonna leave the tip. But that's all you get.
And he's not going home. He shouldn't be expecting anything beyond.
Absolutely not. I got a tip for you. Thank you for that date and good night. You know what I mean? And this is where the test now is back in his land. Because now you know what kind of woman you're dealing with. Next time you will come to me and you will have your stuff fully prepared.
All right, y'all. So one of the men just came in the building.
Wait.
What's up, Shooter?
Oh, so I'm not the latest.
No, you're not.
Oh, cool. I'm not the latest. How y'all doing?
How are you?
Good. We're talking about the scenario that was put online where the guy takes the woman out, he pays for the meal, he asks her to pay for the tip, she gets up, she's upset, she leaves. Who was wrong? The man or the woman? The man for asking the woman
for the meal. He asked her to pay for the tip.
Yes.
He asked her to pay for the tip.
Yeah.
First date,
Yes.
he was wrong.
Okay.
I mean, depending on the man. It's depending on the man. Now, me, first date, I wouldn't ask a woman to pay for no damn tip. That's crazy. I was in front of the bill and say pay for the tip.
It was probably a test. I believe it was a
Yeah,
test.
it probably was. But it's just, you know what I mean? But it all depends on, again, who he is. You know what I mean? If that was a first date, then yeah, that would probably be a
Okay.
fair.
Okay, it's comrade in the building.
That's what I know, bro.
Yeah, we in here.
But if it was somebody that maybe I was familiar
Just
with, maybe not.
All right, y'all. So Shooter and Wesley in the building about to get this good old girl power ass whooping. So Wesley, we were just talking about a man takes a woman out on a date, he pays for the meal, and asks her to pay for the tip. She gets upset, she walks out, she's not paying anything. Who was wrong, the man or the woman?
How many times you been out?
It's the first time.
He was wrong.
Okay. All right, y'all. So the men say the man was wrong.
Two gentlemen in the house.
Oh yeah. Wait a minute. We have two reformed
I
gentlemen.
I'm so glad y'all.
I don't think on the first date and you just meeting a woman that you're trying to court, a woman should be picking up any tabs or any bills or any responsibility on the first time you out. Now, what I do believe is once you have started to take this woman out and now you are on your fourth, fifth, or something like that date, I do believe even if you don't allow her to pay it, she should make at least that attempt. Like, let me, lead in and grab this and grab that. Because I know me as a man, even though she might be pump faking, I want to see a woman at least make that attempt. And I'm not very off break in the beginning. Of course not. I'm going to always hold that down. But after I've taken her out, spend some time with her, talk to her, getting to know her for a while, I want to see her make some initiative of what she can bring to the table as well. That's my take.
I agree. So eventually, like I said, I wouldn't mind covering it. But if you're trying to impress me, discussing the payment of this trip, date, or whatever we're going to have in advance, I'm definitely not going.
Here's how I see that though. I already know where this is going. It's going nowhere. Because if we're going to have a discussion about it, it's not going anywhere.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So she was basically saying before that if you wanted her to pay the tip, it was something that should have been discussed before they even went on a date. I'm saying if that's a discussion that we're having before we're leaving, I'm not even going.
Right.
She's basically saying she would go, and if she had to pay it, she just wouldn't be going home. He shouldn't have any expectations past that meal.
So I always say people should have some type of at least small discussions first before they even go out on that first date.
We talk about
And
man.
the reason why, listen. When you see who you're going out with, some people have high levels of potential, but they're not where they need to be and should be at. So if this is a woman that's dating a man and she knows he may be in a situation where he's building or growing or pushing towards a certain place in life, she may already be established. I'm just being real on how adulthood works. She may already be established and be in her career. He may be going through a transition, whereas he's transitioning from one career to another, or he's getting out of a divorce, or I don't know. Just two examples. He might not be financially where he used to be or should be at because of what has happened in his transition. So what about that? What about if the woman is already high in her position, but she knows like he's a good guy, he's a great guy, but right now he's in a transition space. You act like that don't count.
I still don't like that don't affect the first date factor though. If you still on the first date, you still shouldn't be paying for nothing. I don't care what's going on in the situation.
Well,
if I'm broke, if I'm going through something in my past, whatever, I'm not going to take you on a date like that.
And that's what I'm
getting
ready to say.
like
And that's what I'm getting ready to say. That at this point, you know what I mean? Me as a woman being in whatever position I am, I have the option to say to you that maybe that's probably not a good idea. You know what I mean?
Not a good idea for us to go on a date.
Not for us to go out on a date, and maybe not for us to even kind of collude and even communicate in that sense. Because if my expectation of you in the beginning is that you be equal to me or above me, and you're not, then that creates a problem at the gate. But if
so that's saying if y'all spoke about a date prior to going,
but if you're getting vibes from this man that maybe he's not where he wants to be, if I'm okay with that, then fine. Then we can work out the potential.
But that's right there. No, right there, what she's saying is what I'm talking about. The reason why I use that example because I just seen this happen personally. Two adults, they're both in their 30s. She knew him prior. They just never entertained each other and never been out before. So she knew him when he was well off and he was established. Something happened in his life. He got a minor setback. She was interested. They sent each other to cookout. He told her, like, look, I can't take you out right now. Her response as a woman is, I'm good. I've got us. So that's why I brought that to the table because she said that because she was interested in him.
Because she has interest.
That still counts though.
That's interest.
Yeah,
but if a man says to me in the middle of the, or before the date, I'm going to pick up everything, but do you mind giving the tip?
I'm ordering everything.
I might be okay with going out with you just for the dinner purposes, but that is totally it.
Mm-hmm.
That is it, and that is all. I'm never going to reach out to you to take it anywhere past that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Why? Because you let me know what you thought of me when you asked me that. That's the reason why. It never has anything to do with, I'm assuming.
Hold on 1 second. Tony call. WMSK Online Radio. What's up, Tony?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, how y'all doing? Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just calling. I'm going to talk with y'all about the first date.
Okay.
Well, my opinion, I don't know if you said I'm wrong in that. I think ain't no more courting a woman no more. Courting a woman is doing other doing this new millennium business. Gotta go have that can be splitting and all that. For real, and you really think about it. When you go way back to the 60s, 70s, men took care of the dating thing. Like it was a bill or whatever the bill was, whatever they went out to eat at, men paid that. There wasn't really no splitting or women team. I mean, you don't even see a man hold the door before a woman no more. So it's not even a dating scene.
And whose fault is that? Whose fault is this?
Both of that.
Whose fault is it? It's the man's fault.
Oh, okay.
I agree. I agree. What's your name again? Wait, hold on, because I want to address that. Pause real quick.
I'm keeping it marriage real quick. And the 2019 years is kind kind of getting like watered down. What I mean by watered down, that's why the relationship percentage is so low. That's why the marriage rate is so low. Because we're not, as men, we're not sticking to the foundations that were set or precedent back from those days. Because those days, men courted women. Men respected women in certain aspects. And like far as like holding doors for them. Yeah, they go out, they hold their hand, or, just make them feel like they want it, or, well, nowadays, men don't do that. It's like, all right, come on, let's give it up. All right, come on, let's eat. All right,
Yeah, but again, I heard your point. But again, that's not totally on just the man. That is society and people in general as a whole. Because one, yes, I do, and I say this all the time, and you know I do, Neeuq. Men are slipping at a high level. I do say that. But women are allowing this slippage to happen. They are accepting that. They are allowing it, they want it, and it's coming to them in the same way. Men, straight men, if they want a woman, he gonna do what he gotta do to get this woman and try to get her anyway. If she is making it more challenging and putting, things in his way where it's not easy for him, that's how she going by her way of showing like you gonna work for me. A lot of women ain't making you work for them nowadays. I just had this conversation, brother. This was just what's the day? Monday, just Saturday night. I had a conversation with a mother that is in her 50s and a daughter that is 30 years old. I know this person personally. So I told her, I said, how you maneuver, you don't allow a man to lead. You don't allow a man to handle things as men should be doing. The mother told me, well, baby, this is a new generation. Women are more independent. Women are doing this. Women are doing that. This is a 50-some-year-old woman telling me that women are more independent. Women got their own everything. Women are strong-minded. Women this and women that. All this manly stuff is out the window. I had 2 women tell me that. So I can't sit by the side as a man and be like it's only on the men when you have a large percentage of women saying, oh, I'm boss lady.
Yeah.
You like
Now want to speak on that. Absolutely 100% true.
You know why women say they're independent without boss lady? That's just a mirage, bro. I'm gonna tell you how that's a mirage. There's no such thing as a boss lady or independent woman. I'm gonna tell you why. When that independent woman,
No. I don't think it's right now.
Because there's, like I said, there's no leadership in men no more. So of course you're gonna say I'm independent or boss lady. You have no leadership. That's why she says the new millennium. You gotta read between the lines. The new millennium. So the new millennium is
everybody shaking their head, brother, saying you don't look good.
I'll say, when you said that woman was 50 years old.
Hold on.
You said the woman was 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they can't hear you. Your sexy voice.
Now imagine she's coming from an era, because I'm in my 40s. So I'm closer to this woman's age than anything. So she's coming from, remember now, in the 70s, this is when the black males were being taken out of the homes. Through what? Through prison. They were doing it, they were removing them. And once that dynamic happened, over time, who were running the households? It was women. So over time, yes, we have now found and created opportunities for ourselves, but I don't think it was ever with the intent of dominating the man or trying to really just leave you and X you out. We never, and I don't think we ever intended for that. However, it has happened.
We both responsible. Both sexes, both responsible.
And you know what I mean? And in between the 70s,
Tony, you can't talk when somebody else talking. We're on radio. Hold on. Let her make a point.
In between the 70s, then here come the 80s. And this is my era, you know what I mean, the 70s and the 80s. And I remember when the music started changing. I remember when NWA came out. And NWA, I probably was 11 or 12 or whatever.
Right.
And I heard the lyrics, I heard the things that they were saying, calling women and this, that, and the third, but I don't think I really totally understood where they were going with that. But with the combination of that, taking the male out of the household, and having a woman to try to excavate and figure out life, raising children, raising sons, and things of that nature without that guidance there. Yeah, so now here we are, some almost 50 years later, and yeah, now we're out and we're walking with our heads up high, and it seems like we are saying later for the men, we don't have time for you. You can't do what I do. You got to level up to me and things of that nature. But the reality of it is, and I'm going to say it, we need you all more than we've ever needed you all in our entire
she's right. And I want to address that
because because look at what has happened.
Mhm.
Even with us elevating ourselves now, look what has happened to our families. Our families
are broken
are
and
dysfunctional with the capital.
so really quick before we move to the comments, what she just addressed and what she just said, people don't understand the dynamic of what's really going on and how it's setting our people back. There is no other race in America. I'm not even going to say the world. I'm going to just address America. There is no other race in America where the woman is outdoing the man but the black community. The Jewish woman is now outdoing the Jewish man. The Asians, the white men, the Latino, no other race but ours are the women outdoing us. But when we say these things, I think sometimes the women get offended, like, oh, you just hate because I'm strong or powerful. No, it's not that. The reason why in our communities we have these high problems is not that a woman can't raise a child, because they're doing it every day, but that aspect of not having a man there in that household, in that community, as the resource, that structure of that manly figure is one of the major reasons, outside of the systematic that's the oppression that's on top of us, is one of the major reasons why a lot of our kids are in prison at a high level, why a lot of our kids have these behavior problems, why they grades aren't good, because they just running them up and doing things is no real structure. But people don't understand, you can go as far as war. Anytime you're looking at war, when you at war with a group of people or a country, you take the men out first. You kill off the men. You keep the women as like slaves or sexual concubines and things like that. And you decide what you want to do with the children. And majority of the time, even when you at war, they might kill off the young boys because they look at them as threats. So when they get older, they will try to take over. Some of them might look at them as we can make them look soldiers because they're young and make them work for us and slave for us. But if you're looking at it in war factor, they get the men out of there. And that's what has happened to us. Our men have been, just like you said, incarcerated at a high level. Our men are dying off at a high level. And then we have other issues and problems that I don't like to really speak on because people look at me like, oh, Wesley, you tripping. But she know what I'm talking about. But that is a problem too in our community. And it's like, until we realize how our men are being wiped out in our community, for one, prison, for two, death, and then now this new wave of what's going on, our men are getting wiped out.
That's why sex is almost foreign language to us, and it shouldn't be, but the problem is that if I'm 10 or 12 years old and I can't turn around and say, Dad, can I ask you a question? Can I talk to you? I mean, I heard something today they were talking about in school, and I want to know if this little boy, 10 or 12 years old, can't turn around and ask you or ask his father, what can he do? What is he supposed to do? Then why do we think now at this level that we will be able to have a conversation or even discuss it and be able to coexist and the conversation actually makes sense?
I mean, that all depends on the relationship with the child. I mean, because
but let's be clear.
We all
and let's be clear.
not all parents are talking to their children.
You've got a huge number of children, male and female, and they are growing up in biased homes because there is no male there to cut that, to intervene with that. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, but that has nothing to do with it either. Because like single moms as well can teach males about sex as well as females. So like the mother can do that without a father in the household.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point. But if you know, there is a major element missing when both parents aren't there.
Yeah.
There's a major element. And I'm going to say this, on the male side, I raised my little brother. He's 6 years old. I've had him since he was 2. There are things that he's missing that a mother and a woman can provide to him that as a man, I can't give him. He's going to have a lot of structure and detail from me as a man that he's going to have, but it's some tender love and care that he yearns from, a female and a woman. Elijah tend to ball up under women. That's why as a man, I can't walk around just having a ton of women around because I don't want to raise him and teach him that way. Anytime a woman is around, he like cuddle up under them. And he can meet them for the first time because I can tell that's an element of a child that he's missing. And I don't think a lot of parents really understand that sometimes because we thinking, oh, I'm a grown woman, I can do this by myself. Or I'm a grown man, I can do it by myself. I'm not saying you can't do it, but what I am saying is, yes, this child is still going to grow up, regardless if it has a single mother or a single father. But there's some elements about life that this young man or young girl is missing by not having that father figure or mother figure there to help them learn and grow to their daily life.
So in reference to the questions surrounding the dates, yes.
Go ahead, Tony, because we get ready to move to the next topic.
What's the next topic?
No, you got to find out.
What I'm saying is, just to piggyback off a little bit of what I ain't gonna take a long time. And which, I don't know who that was talking, but
Quaisha.
What's her name?
Quaisha.
Who?
Quaisha.
I can't hear you.
It don't matter. Go ahead.
Okay. Whatever the young lady's name was, what she was saying also, the whole thing of it is this. Everybody got a lot of opinions on the situation that goes on in the household, which is true. Once the man is missing, you gotta think the man is the link of the whole household. There's a structure to everything you do in life. So once the man is out of that structure, so the structure becomes out of whack. The chains start to become weaker, and the link is about to be broken. And what I mean by the link about to be broken, even with the kids, the raising kids, the man plays a security role in kids' life. So as men, we teach our boys, our girls, we are the security link, we are the non-fair factor teachers, get together role models and things like that. The mother role is to, like you said, is to keep to show the love and affection there and things like that. Now, for the boys, we gotta tend to draw a line. When boys get too used to being home for women all the time and being around women all the time and want to do everything with them, then you got to put a line. There's a line that has to drawn. Not being on
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because I think that children, they need everything that the mother can offer and everything that the father can offer. I don't think it's too much love and nurturing that you can get from anybody at home.
As long as it's getting leveled out,
I think where we mess up at is when we give each other roles.
Like other women come around, they get that same emotion.
No, you have to understand, his mother passed away, so he doesn't have a mother in his life.
And that's what I'm saying. That's cool. That's fine. But you can't, like what you said, like, you got to teach them how to, you have to, it's tough to be in control.
But he's 6. He is 6. He does not have a mother in his life. Therefore, any female that comes around, any child with an absent parent yearns to have. Listen, Tony, he is 6. I don't know how dangerous that can be. But, we need to move on from this topic because this was just a segue while we was waiting for the guys to get in here so we can administer this ass whooping that they're about to get. But I do want to thank y'all for all of y'all comments on this first topic. Maybe we'll pick it up a little bit later. So thank you, Tony. You need to go back on and listen in because I'm sure you're going to have something to say about this next topic. But
are you talking about the one that's the topic?
Yes, you already know what the topic is for the night.
Okay.
All right.
So we call back later?
Yeah, you got to hear what we're talking about first.
Huh?
You got to hear what we're talking about first. The discussion has to get underway.
I already know about this part. This part is explosion right here. I already know.
It is. Girl power. So we'll talk to you later. So in the comments, you had a lot of people saying, you know, the men are saying, so after he's already paid for the date, he's paid for everything, including the tip. What are you expecting to get after that? Because, like we said, it's most likely a test that you asking the woman to pay anyway. So he's like, I already see what kind of woman she is. I might leave. You got the ladies on here saying she probably just didn't have it. Some ladies are saying they will be willing to pay the tip, you know, depending on how things are. But Wesley, didn't you say? Because we all know that nobody likes a broke guy. They just don't. But then you say out of your own mouth that if he broke, he shouldn't be dating anyway.
I didn't.
Okay, good. Because you shouldn't be trying to take me on a date if you.
No, I did say that. I do feel like, excuse me, sorry. I do feel like, and I'm just speaking from me and who I am and how I maneuver as a man. I feel like if a man is not where he needs to be at as a man, he shouldn't feel comfortable with even trying to court a woman or even trying to get her attention at that moment, because what can he do as a man? Like as a man, there's certain things that I feel like we are supposed to be doing as men. And if you aren't in a space where you can provide these things, then you shouldn't be doing it. That's why, you know, in a jokingly way, I always bring this stuff up, but it's a lot of truth and seriousness in it as well. I don't like to try to make people feel bad or put them down, but I don't like when I see a woman that has her own car, she's paying the car payment and insurance, and her boyfriend driving around all day. He ain't putting no gas in there, he ain't paying the car payment, he ain't paying the insurance, but he driving the whip around all day, but that's her car. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, I don't think that's okay. Now, if they sharing that car and they sharing the responsibilities of that car, that's a difference once you are already in a relationship. But a lot of times, you can come across many of relationships out here. And I'm not using rumors. I know for a fact that I know many relationships, especially coming from where we grow up at in the urban environment. The woman, it'll be her apartment, it'll be her car, and she'll have a job. She paying for all of it, but he's sleeping in her crib. He eating her food. He driving her car when she go to work. He doing like everything is in her name. Everything is hers. But he laid up, getting his, you know, sex off the wall with the woman, getting the food, you know, eating all the time, his belly full, laid up in her bed, all in her apartment. And it's like, she cool with handing him the keys when they leave. Like,
but see, that's where when
that's
I say, but see, that's where I talk about that dynamic about not having the proper rearing. Because when you don't see that communication, that connection in your household, how do you know what that looks like? If I don't know that it's not okay for a man to be in my bed and not have a job and he can drive my car, then it's easy for somebody like me looking from the outside looking in to judge them, looking at that situation. But when you got young people that are growing up and they're not being taught that thing.
You bring it all back to a circle. Go ahead.
You see what I'm saying?
That's why I started at the beginning. You're right.
You know what I mean? And what happens to them? They are the ones, they got 4 or 5 spawns being born every year. And they're doing the same thing. So it never stops. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so somebody got to step up here and adult at some point. But how do you do that when nobody shows you the ropes and the rules to this?
So you speaking on so many things that I pour this into all the time. Because as me being a community organizer, community engagement specialist, youth specialist, all things like that, I invest a lot in the youth. But as I have developed and grown mentally, I tell people it's bigger than just investing in these kids. You got to grab their parents too. Yes. Because it's the parents that is ignorant at a high level, and I'm using ignorance of they don't know themselves. So when the parent don't know something, and they just passing that same level of ignorance down to their son or daughter, now this is generations of ignorance and not knowing how to do something, how to walk and behave and live, being passed down. The mother that don't know how to get through this stage in her life, right? And she was never taught. Just because you're 40, that don't mean you know something because of your age. If you never was taught it and never was exposed to it and you never learned it, don't matter how many years go by, you still in the unknown. So now you bring a child into that, You are raising a child by your unknownness. Like, if you're not giving them no information to properly maneuver through life because you don't know yourself. So now they have another baby, and it's the same thing. So it has to be the way, exactly what you said. Something or someone has to come in and break that cycle, break the chain, and bring something different. Because when I speak on these things, I'm not speaking in a judgmental way, but I'm speaking and saying that it's not okay and it's not right. But at the same time, just like you said, just looking on the outside, you don't know how this young girl or young male was raised. And that's why I also go back to, this is the reason why there's very important level that needs to be emphasized on the men being a part of their family, their kids, and just the community life. Because if this young man, and I'm not giving excuses for these men, but if this young man has never had a father around to give him the proper examples and the know-how of how to love a woman, how to treat a woman, how to protect a woman, how to nurture a woman, how to treat his household, how to talk to her, he don't know.
No, I can't say that.
So I'm telling you, you can't.
But you got to give him some kind of responsibility.
But who's giving it to him?
The world has to give it to him because
that's the point. You saying the world? If we live in a majority of areas where, how does the community? We can go down on any community and neighborhood in Baltimore City right now, and you can tell me what the men are doing, and then you go back and tell me what the women are doing.
Okay.
I mean, see the.
So what was the point that you was trying to
go ahead.
make the world?
Because you gotta think about, like, what about the few kids that's raised in that same environment that make it out and that overcome it, so that actually makes it.
Yeah,
so
how
they took responsibility. How was they not affected by
that's not always. That's exposure. Something happened along the way, along
but they
the
allow
line.
themselves to be exposed because everybody get exposure. You gotta accept that. Somebody, for some reason, they accepted that exposure. They took responsibility and used that and were proactive with that information and exceeded. For some reason, the other kids didn't take the same responsibility. Now you're gonna say that they had the same.
No, you can't say that.
I don't know.
You can't say that.
I think your experiences and your influences will definitely dictate to you very young what you will be motivated to do. If you're born into a depressing situation, for some children, they're like, this is my life. This is what it's gonna be, and I ain't gonna be anything past this. But then you've got some children, they looking at it and they like, I don't like this.
Right.
I don't want to stay like this. I want to get out of this. And then they may go ask for help or ask for exposure to something else to outside of that. It just depends on the environment that they're living in, for one, because you've got some households who this thing of, we need to stay where we are, don't try to do better or do more than what you're doing now. You got generation of families who think like that. They live like that. And then you got some families that say, baby, I know I couldn't give you what you wanted, but I want you to go to school. I want you to try. That's the element of child that you're going to see.
But that's why I say we can't say somebody else's situational experience can be compared to some. And the reason why I say that, again, I'm in the community every day. If I see some women, they lost their son to gun violence, and she has started a whole organization about how to stop gun violence, how to do this and how to fix that, and what to do in the community. Another woman lost her son, and she became an alcoholic, can't function no more, can't move. Then you'll have another woman or man that might have been molested or touched or raped as a child, and that person is now building and pushing, and they stronger, and they don't want to go through that. Then you can look at another woman, and you touch her, and she's shaking, and she's touched. You can't say everybody experience or exposure should elevate them. Everybody don't have the same mental capacity.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So they do. And some people are, one saying that I love from Harriet Tubman, she said, I saved 1,000 slaves, but I would have saved 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves.
Right.
Everybody don't know the conditions that they living in is devastation. Everybody don't know that they can do better. If you're living in a community, and I always use this example because this is what I live by. If you're living in a community, you go to sleep and you waking up to a block, and all you see is a bad house, a bad house, a bad house, a bad house. Somebody live here, a bad house, somebody live there. That is normal to you. You don't know that it's not okay to live on a block with 15 abandoned houses and the roofs caving in, and you living in between it. You have normalized that. You know why? You wake up and go to sleep to that every day. So when they go through these blocks and they living, to them that's cool. They good. They chilling on the block. But somebody that's not from that can ride through this and say, oh my God, people live like this. I can't believe they live like this. A friend of mine, for the first time, he came from London. I got a friend that's from London. Came over here to visit me. I drove him around. This a grown man, 36 years old. He's riding in my passenger seat crying. He said, brother, Baltimore look like y'all been in a war zone. He said, I can't believe y'all live like this. He said, it looked like y'all had bombs and like gas drops. But as regular Baltimoreans, a lot of us ride through it and we don't see and feel that devastation. Somebody that's not from here can come here and be crying and be like, oh my God, this is what y'all see every day. So that's my point on, man,
how can it affect somebody?
I took two of my kids to the Upper Park Heights. They was looking at me like, Mr. Hawkins, we still in Baltimore? This Baltimore? I ain't never seen this before. The top of Park Heights, they got the big houses, the grass and all that. My kids that I mentor, they ain't never seen that. They from the projects. I took them still in Baltimore, top of Park Heights, and they looking at me with big eyeballs like, oh my God, we still in Baltimore? That's what I'm saying. Like,
that lived over East Baltimore, and they said they had
never been to West. Never.
In their life. So they wouldn't recognize or know where they were. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And they like, nope, never been over there, never had a reason to go. But Baltimore is a really, really small city. For you to not travel at least from one point of where you live to the other. I mean, we are really small. We like a dot on the map in reality.
Extremely small city,
you know what I mean?
Compared to other cities.
But you know,
but I think that's another thing that has been normalized. Not to travel outside of,
because we believe we become territorial. We celebrated being territorial, saying,
and when we do
this
travel,
my hood. This my
we travel to the same exact places every year. Right. The whole Baltimore, the only daggone thing they damn near only know is Miami. They think they doing the biggest, and I'm not trying to put nobody down. Bro, this world is huge. This is a large planet. Every year, people go to Miami from Baltimore 4 or 5 times in Miami. Bro, you ain't never seen another state before.
I had a conversation with some gentlemen while we were at MCC a few years back, and it was because I had went to Jamaica, and when you land in Jamaica, when we look at Baltimore, you say, oh my God, this place is like a war zone. Land in Jamaica, and it's even worse. Yeah. You know what I mean?
A lot of the tourist countries, though. A lot of those tourist places, those guys are like,
I lived in a project, Miss Smith. You know, I grew up with nothing, and I said, can I tell you something? I said, go to the Sudan, go to some of those remote African countries. And I said, and you'll see kids who have never seen a TV, doesn't know what a TV looks like, never had a mattress. And I said, and they sleeping in homes that are made from either some type of straw or some type of plastic. And I said, wild animals running all around them.
But the difference about that, you're right.
I said,
they got different
Mexico, if you like go past some of those neighborhoods, those makeshift neighborhoods,
yes,
I'm just like, what the hell is this?
But guess
and
what?
I saw it even in the Dominican Republic.
I did too.
I saw little kids running on the side of me. I'm in an ATV, and they run and say, "Give me $1, give me $1," and I'm talking about toddlers, 2 or 3 years old. And
they have a higher level of, I don't know what it is. They have like a higher level of pride and like motivation though. Even though a lot of us are from like the hood and like poverty, our way over here our will and hope and a lot of that have been broken. Like when I first started going to college years ago, I went to Morgan, and Morgan have a lot of Black students that come from like Trinidad, Nigeria, Africa, things like that. I don't know how it is today, but when I was up there in my early 20s, the Black Africans and the Black Americans were like on 2 different planets. And I had a conversation, and I asked the question, they don't like how we move. They be like, yo, y'all live in a land where it's so many opportunities and y'all just gave up. Y'all don't fight, y'all don't work, y'all don't cherish the yeah, they feel like
we're stupid because
yeah.
Here we have access to all of this knowledge and we don't take the advantage of it.
Right.
I have full-blown libraries
Not just access to knowledge, but access to a lot of other things. Food, opportunities, living, housing, and stuff like that.
Yes. But again, it's influences, it's your environment, and when your influences are derogatory all the time, I mean, where at one point do you know when to step out of it or step away from the derogatory and try to know something else?
Right.
You know what I mean? I see guys, and I've got some guys that are my age, and their conversation, I felt like I was sitting on a Mocha Livy show, because I mean, and maybe that was my bad for expecting them to have a higher level of language, of vocabulary.
But I talk about that all the time.
But when they were talking, and I was like, and I think I asked him, I said, did you just say something nasty? Did you just say something dirty? And he was like, what you talking about? You know, and I was like, I swear I think you said something nasty. So I knew me and him, that was going, because I lost him in the conversation, you know, and his presentation was, yeah, I'm 45, but he looked like, he dressed like he was 25.
And that's right there. I always speak on that. You're right. She touches something that I always tell people, like, just because a person is 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, that doesn't mean they have the mental and they've grown mentally and the mental capacity to live and carry themselves as an adult. You can go here in these corners, and this grown men that's old enough to be some of these kids' fathers getting ran around and running errands for a young 18, 19-year-old young boy. These young boys out here that got old heads working for them. Seriously, they like 18, 19, 17, shorty running around 40-year-olds.
And then we're going to move on to the next topic. But when I worked in a jail, working these tiers every day, I could not understand how the gang members were 18, 19, 20 years old. And I'm not just talking about the members. I'm talking about the leader, the head member was 18 or 19. How the hell can you tell me anything?
At 18 and 19.
You don't wash your nuts right. Like, what? So I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be a fool for following this 18-year-old's directions. I never understood it. But it's happening in a lot of different things.
But it didn't have anything to do with what he knew. It was what he was willing to do. And that is the piece that when you talk about gangs, that's very different from when you talk about people that are in the military. Because the military comes with a different level of training. It's not just physical. You're going to be emotionally pushed and probably pushed to your limit to prepare you for what you're about to deal with on the other side. Gang members don't do that. You know what I mean? They're like predators. They're like pedophiles. They pick and they watch and they pick and they see maybe your little brother and figuring ain't nobody taking care of him. Or somebody's not doing something for him. And here they got now and they say, ooh, here's my prize. Here's another little soldier that I might be able to take with me. You know what I mean? And instead of them grooming you to for real warfare, because these gang members now, when they talk about, you know, my Glock, this and this, that, and the third, and I keep telling them, no, dum-dum, the warfare that we got to get prepared for ain't got nothing to do with no Glocks. The warfare is on this, and we losing by the numbers. It ain't got nothing to do with, because it's easy to go find a gun and pick it up and just pull the trigger. That's simple. It's the same thing. You know,
how crazy is it? How ironic is it that we ignorant to like the poverty situations, but we ignorant to like the blessings we got too though, like the technology and the food. How we ignorant to everything?
Because we don't see, because
in the middle, just like stuck still.
And it is a blessing. But when someone is not driving in your mind, look what you can get. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to rob nobody for it. You ain't got to do none of that stuff. You're not going to be, you're not going to be there to say, okay, I'm going to step out and I'm going to get it. It's not that we don't see these things. It's not that we don't know that they're there. But how is that going to benefit me right now when my focus right now is I'm surviving? These people, my people that I see, and these people that I see on the streets or in these neighborhoods, they're always in survival mode, or at least that's what they believe. What are you surviving for? Are you surviving for food? Are you surviving for shelter? Or what are you surviving for? But the piece that we keep missing is that without education, without that knowledge, without linkage, without strength, everything that you think you're surviving for is going to continue to slip.
I really do want to move on to our other topic, but there was another discussion that we were talking about. People who have master's degrees and they're earning $16, $17 an hour. And so it is very common, with, the work, and how everything is right now, the economy and everything. People aren't paying people a lot of money. I don't know how much people are out here taking advantage of their opportunities, but just to see someone has a master's degree and they're even being offered $17 an hour is like, that's kind of sad because I probably have $100,000 in school loans, and you want to offer me $17 an hour. So people are not really seeing the worth in education. However, as a proponent for education, I feel like you have more opportunities with the education than if you did. Because if you don't, the only real opportunity for you is going to be entrepreneurship. You have to find a niche in a place or organization or in an industry that you can break through, and that's the only way that you're really going to make it. So I wouldn't just discount education altogether.
But that might be the point behind not paying people what they're worth. Mm-hmm. And that is to push people to form and become entrepreneurs. Some of that is employed in this day and age. You know what I mean? To push people to become entrepreneurships. And why? Because even under the guise of entrepreneurships, money has to move. Money has to connect. The problem with us as a people is I see some of us starting to do real well, coming up with and they offering different type of services. But the problem is that our money doesn't stay in our community. Your money don't stay in your communities. You can't.
That's what you gotta do.
You can't provide a service. You can't help your people to grow or even to manage to do anything outside of what they're doing because all of our dollars go outside of the community and they don't come back.
Don't get us started.
Don't get me started. Y'all know how I do that. But I'm gonna say something. I'm not a part of the nation, but in my personal opinion, the group that's doing the most out here is the nation. Nation of Islam. They doing more work with trying to build people and teach people about wealth, help people in the community, and doing stuff like that. The Nation of Islam, bro, is doing more. And I'm out here on the ground level. I ain't against no religion, but I see who out here and who not. And I always be trying to reach out and tell all the pastors and preachers and bishops and stuff, what's up with you? Where y'all at? It frustrates me. It's not enough
on a religious aspect.
No. What I'm saying is people who are doing things,
and that's what I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying.
That religion, it's very prevalent. It's very out in the open, and the way they move, and the way pastors, bishops, whatever you want to call them, the way is totally different.
Well, because we have to remember that religion is a business. That wasn't.
However, even in their polygynous marriages and all that kind of stuff, they treat it like a business. They want to have multiple wives so that they can build wealth and all that other kind of stuff. On the other hand, you have these other situations happen. But I don't really want to get on to marriage. On religion. But I definitely see your point, Wesley. Definitely. And we had Mr. Yasin who came in. He was talking about gold. And he was talking about his multiple marriages and, how he was building wealth. He instilled it into his children. They just move a lot different as a culture. And, even though religion is the background to it, they do things a lot different.
I'm not against anybody with religion. I will say this. If whatever religion you practice makes you a better person, a decent person, then by all means keep doing it. Now, but when when you sitting up there and you telling people, cartoonish stories for them to go in their purse for you to rob them blind. I couldn't. I'm sorry. Give me your
Listen, we trying to segue into something else. Y'all done brought religion and all of this other kind of stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what will bring them out. This topic you about to go into. You gonna get it. You gonna get.
I ain't gonna tell you my take on heaven. I ain't even gonna say it on air. Somebody might be listening.
You about to get banned.
Listen. No, we ain't gonna get banned. You know, these guys came in here, they was talking all of this good stuff and all of that. I think we was gonna take it easy on them when it came to the topic at hand. However, it brings me to my motherfucking question of the day.
What's up?
My question is to the ladies. If you are dealing with a guy and he cannot make you come, why do you continuously deal with this guy?
Easy. Familiarity.
What's the point in taking our clothes off and humping if nothing's happening? And I still got to pull out my toy after.
Because it's got to be, it has to be what your expectation is going to be. If you've gotten with this dude and you realize that sexually you may not be compatible to them,
You gonna continue having sex with him?
but you may be compatible to him in other ways. You know, you may have.
This is why marriages are falling apart right now. Because you have him in all these other ways.
But I just think that for some people,
You can be extremely compatible with the vagina and the penis, and it's uncompatible in like life period.
Yes.
Why they saying? I got the same question. A man can make you come 4 times a day, but he can be big trash to you in life.
Right.
So which one is better? Somebody making your vagina jump off the box, but his life with him is trash. Or somebody that's providing an extremely good life with you, and y'all having fun and living, but your vagina ain't jumping. I don't know. Like,
But it's
question
the
right now. I
influence.
want to hear what she gonna say about
Right.
that. That's the question.
She wanted to watch her.
What would you rather?
Live in a box, baby. Just live in a box.
Give me the box now. I don't give a
Live in
goddamn.
a cardboard box.
And y'all know women that are like that, right?
But that's
I mean,
not
listen,
true.
I'm gonna be 100. Like me personally, I think orgasm before.
You said
I
that.
told you that before.
Everybody
Like,
does
you
that,
might have
though.
to.
Everybody does that.
So Ms. Young is saying something else fills the void, whether it be financial security or something else. But then I find that you're settling because deep down inside you're not really happy. And then that's when Tank Top Tony slides in and he fills the void for
You're
you.
not satisfied, so you're gonna
Here's
cheat.
what I will tell
You're gonna
women and men. At the end of the day, be honest with yourself. Because if you don't, I see a lot of people get hurt and get killed behind lying. Now, if he's not doing it for you and it's just not working,
You gonna tell him that?
get your behind on up out of there. If
So
for the
I
man, for
asked-
the same thing, if this woman is not doing for you what you want or what you feel like you need, then by all means, go and find what you want. You
No,
ain't got
so
but
I
one life.
asked a female coworker this question earlier, and she basically said she cannot come to grips with herself to find a nice way to tell him that he's just not doing it for her after several years of dealing with each other. And she said it's not any nice way that you can say it.
It's not supposed to be nice.
That's a long
That's
time.
the thing, and that's what you call adulting. If you can sit up there and say the word fuck, then you should be able to sit up there and tell them you ain't doing it for me, fool. And that's the thing though. That's called adulting. You gotta be able to have some conversations ain't gonna be cute or pretty.
But just like Ms. Young said, it may be other reasons that you're staying. However, I feel like a lot of marriages get to be mediocre, and that's one of the first things that go. That's sex life.
But that could be on both ends though, because you could be sitting
I'm
on your
not
mind
saying
thinking like,
either one made it bad.
he really just ain't doing it for you. He really ain't doing it for me no more. And he's sitting up there thinking on the other end, this which is really saggy.
Melvin, how is she gonna say it? Melvin said it don't have to be nice, but it shouldn't be mean.
For me personally, I can't do it. If I can't have a connection with you sexually, I'm not gonna act that out for too long. I'm probably gonna try to give it a couple chances to see if there's something click or some kind of fire as fuck. If it don't, and I'm gonna have to let you know some kind of way. Like we're not even gonna get serious enough where it's gonna be affecting me that much to say this to you.
I'm gonna tell you what a woman does. Women, we know what we want to do with you all the minute we meet y'all. And I'll tell you that me and all my friends, we all agree. We know exactly how far we want to go with y'all the minute we meet y'all. There's some things that I've already made up in my mind. You ain't getting. Simple as that.
He could blow on you.
Nope.
He could.
Mm-mm.
I've seen people blow on people.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, in some instances, I won't say never. But I know right now.
He told females one night when something wasn't right. And Ms. Bless said it has to be what a person has been used to. But that's my question. How are you getting used to not coming? Because I don't understand what's the purpose of even doing it if you're not coming. Because I'm not giving you 10 chances to disappoint me.
Maybe they think that that's what it's supposed to be. Because they
What
don't,
you mean?
You know, some, like we said earlier, some people keep doing the same thing because they don't know different or know that it's not supposed to be.
You know you're not coming though.
Some women ain't orgasms yet.
Yeah, I mean, some people, I've heard someone say that they have never experienced the orgasm.
And whose fault is that?
Their past.
Their past or yours for not
That's a lot of faults. That ain't just their fault. That's another thing that I think go undiscussed. Everybody don't know how to have sex.
That's true.
We just think we're supposed to be born how to just, I know how to hump.
But
Everybody have sex different. Everybody like different things.
They do.
Every woman like
I don't know how.
But you
don't
don't
like getting beat up, spanked, choked.
But you don't know until you try it. And then some people are closed-minded and they might say, "It's something that I'm not gonna do," or "I don't
see,
want to
we're not
do."
even gonna get on that topic because you know what? Some of the men who are more well endowed, they feel like they don't have to do a whole lot of stuff.
Wow.
They don't, because they might rearrange.
Yes, they do.
So no.
Yes, they do. They gotta do the same thing, small man.
Yeah, you don't got to put the whole. You ain't got to listen. You can get all this work.
My shorts on the top.
You can't.
Some shorts on the
You can get all this work.
You know what I mean?
No, so I feel like there are a lot of things that kind of create who you are sexually, right? Yeah. And I added I put up a article earlier to go with this topic. And I was saying, because I was asking, do you think people who have been over-sexualized, molested when they were young, or started having sex, or whatever it is, do you think it's harder for you to please them as a man? Because if we're going to get to that point, I think that's something that we definitely want to talk about.
I believe it could be, but I believe my whole thing is like part of my whatever we want to call it, part of the way I get things done, or we want to say it, is first of all, you feel me, like you gotta learn a woman first, like you gotta learn her first. Like
I'm about to walk out. I'm about to walk out. I keep telling y'all this.
Like I can
she always talking about.
No, I am in agreement. That's why I'm gonna give you 3 chances.
I'm gonna give you 3 chances to learn.
But that's a two-way street. Because while you learning me, I need to be learning you.
And we don't learn each other.
If the goal is for us to take each other to heaven and back, if that's the goal, then I got to know who you is.
Real quick, my point that I always bring up is a lot of women always run around screaming size, right? A man and a woman that know each other's body in and out, if they take the time to really learn each other, that will be way better sex than you talking about the dude that got the forearm on his jeans. Like people don't be wanting to hear that. Like seriously, if y'all take the time to really get to understand and know what each other is like and what excites her body parts, most people don't even know what excites the other person's body part.
But this is the thing. Let me tell you about some statistics that was in this article that I posted. 95% of the time, men are going to climax from a sexual act. Whether it be just that he is getting intercourse, a hand job, oral, or whatever. He's going to come 95% of the time. Other 5% you might be faking, like you said. You just want this shit to be over, it's trash, or whatever y'all say, right? Mm-hmm. But the article also went on to talk about women's experience with sex. and only 50% of the time are they even climaxing from intercourse alone. It gets up to 89% when you're adding in mutual masturbation and oral sex, fingering, and all of those other things, right? It gets up to 89%. But somebody said something a little bit earlier, which is key. The man has to take the time to get to know her and know and just be willing to please her. A lot of times men go into arrangements and they just try and bust a nut. They could care less what's happening with this lady. That's the number one reason I'm not letting you get the 4 chances.
Or they just don't know, they don't know how to have sex. Like some motherfuckers, when I was younger, I thought sex was just fuck. You just go to this is sex. You feel me? I didn't know. I was taught, but that's what I don't know better. I had to learn.
So where are we learning sex?
Through experience. You gotta learn through different stuff.
But you did before. When you learn sex from as a guy,
sex means many different things to many different people. Because sex ain't just physical. Sex can be mental, it could be spiritual, it could be
we're not talking about
telepathic.
We're not talking about that. We're talking
right,
about
I don't know about
no, but wait a minute though. Because when you talk about and that's the reason why we in the rut we in now. Because all we want to do is focus on
bring
the physical.
spirituality into my nastiness.
I mean,
No,
it's not.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what we're discussing. I told you with the way I involve myself, I make sure I learn everything about the woman first before I even want to go there with you. I know. I talked to her about that before one time I was here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have a conversation with you before we even have sex. I'm gonna know what you like before we even go.
Ain't that weird?
So you want to know that I like to eat with a fork and not with a spoon.
I'm gonna know that.
That's so sexy.
I'm gonna know that.
That's so sexy.
But the thing about it,
I just
I'm
don't
gonna make you
know.
so comfortable when we talk that you ain't gonna mind telling me none of that. We're gonna be talking.
Yeah, so we still have to get to the point where we're having that discussion. Because I still think that's weird. Like, what you saying? So Wesley, who taught you how to have sex?
Like your brother said, from experience, just kick out.
So you disappointed a whole lot of women before you got reincarnated.
For males don't. It doesn't have to be a specific teacher because the curiosity is there as a young person, even with girls, but males more so because
even
males
are. Development is saying 5 or 6. You trying to figure out what's going on. You
I don't know. Little girls was feeling on me, and bigger women was feeling on me before I was feeling. Like I told her that I should have slapped her. Ain't no telling.
Weigh in 570-763-9675. So she who taught you?
Like I said, through experience.
So you disappointed a whole lot of women before a whole lot of girls.
I actually pleased a lot of women, but I learned different women love to be pleased different ways.
Right there.
Through experience. Like I tried the same thing I tried with the last girl with the next girl. She didn't like that. Like I said, I was so comfortable with her that she told me that she didn't like that. Because we had built a relationship by this point of comfortability and chemistry. So when I tried to do the same thing I tried with the last girl with the next girl, we was already comfortable. So she was like, wait a minute, I like it like this, not like that.
Look, I'm gonna say this.
So I tried to like
this
that.
This is my personal opinion. Oversaturation of sex can mess you up. And the reason why I think that is because people think vagina is vagina and penis is penis. Women's vaginas feel totally different. Every woman's vagina don't feel the same. They don't have the same moistures and stuff. Some women might get extremely wet and it's like clear.
And some women might like extremely wet and it's like I don't like it all wet like that. I don't like it too.
That's funny. I don't like that.
I know it sounds crazy. I don't like when it's too wet.
Sometimes y'all think it's like hot, but it almost feel like you can't
feel nothing. No, exactly. I don't like it to be like that.
When it's like explosion.
So this is why we need to go, because we're going to have a live show and we were going to talk about what great sex is. Because I think that a lot of people have different ideas of what it is. And because we're going by all of these assumptions all the time, we really don't even have a clue. Right. Because if I had sex with you, it would be great. And I have sex with you and it's not so great. Can we all say what great sex is? Or is it just relative?
No, I mean, stereotypically,
it's going to be great based, for you, it's going to be great based on the experience that you had. That was what you liked.
Right.
That works for you.
Right.
Then you might have gone with him and the experience is not the same. It wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
But what he did for you, this didn't quite give you what you was looking for, or what you needed at that time, and that is totally okay. Everybody is not going to be a match for you, and I love that.
So do y'all believe that feelings have to be involved? The number is 570-763-9675.
No, I don't believe feelings have to be involved in having great sex.
For it to be great?
No, I've had great sex without no feelings attached.
Okay, but did you take the time? Because I think more importantly is the time and attention that's taken before we get to the size and all that other kind of stuff.
I mean, when I was intentionally trying to court a woman, I took the time.
Yeah,
there was
that's
occasions when I
what
just like spontaneously had sex. And it was
And it was still
great.
great.
Yeah,
And she came and you came.
Both came. I made sure the woman come before I even come.
I mean, but there are times when that's all we looking for. I mean, as a woman, I might get to you and I might say, I'm not looking for nothing else. I just want to have a good
but
time.
it's not going to be that all I want you for is sex because I'm physically attracted to you, and we get to the fifth time and I still haven't came yet.
But then see, but when you didn't do it by the second time, that's when you should have. Yeah, that's when you should have said you should have gave that pay slip because you know what I mean.
No, I'm not gonna say 2 times, right? Because the first time you can almost for sure count out. Is a new person, you know, he's so anxious, he excited, he coming quick. Let's just
that's fine.
Count it out.
That's fine.
So first time you can't count, right? So the second time he should be getting a little bit more acclimated and he should have had that discussion. Because most times men will say, oh, well, how was it for you? So find a nice way to say, as quick as that seller train goes
the
from
men that I have met have told me they could care less what it was for you as long as they got what they can.
And that's fucked up. And then that means you're not
and I can accept that, but I can also accept that they feeling like that because again, there's a certain type of teaching, there's a certain type of influence.
But yeah, he wouldn't even get a second chance because that's just a way for him to say, you know.
As a man, if you're having sex with a woman, you should definitely be wanting to make her come first before you even think about coming. That should be your mission as a man to make this girl come off the break. That's my mission to make you come. Not even think about.
But I will say all day long, yes, that is a goal, and it should be, you know, in a perfect world. But I'm one of those people that believe that you really need to be careful about who are these people that you are making feel this goddamn good, because when it's over, where does that leave them? And then you have people saying, this person is stalking me now, I can't get rid of them, or it becomes distorted. That's why when you said, okay, I work to get to know the person, yeah, you might want to figure out who it is you about to blast, because when it's all over with, how does that play around in their mental? How does that play around in their spirit?
I don't know if you really want to be able to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? No matter how well you like a person, because for real, until it happens, you really don't know how they're going to react. So you probably just ran into a psycho case, and you know sometimes they say they have the best sex ever.
You don't understand what sexual it intertwines the spirit.
And that's what I'm saying, because people they take it and they misconstrue it. If you had sex with me and this bomb, and I just sat home and be like, this dude is the bomb. I wouldn't, oh my God, I love him.
You're done.
I done already decided that I love him. You know what I mean? And now I'm about to start doing things that he's not expecting and don't want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unwanted affection.
But that's where the communication comes in.
Next thing you know,
communication comes in.
So
some people would think, you know, we were talking earlier about whether or not good friends can have great sex and remain friends. I think at some point when the sex gets so great, I think the whole line of friendship is going to be distorted, hands down. Even if we started out and we said, oh yes, I'm only here to have sex with you. Once you start kissing and it start getting real good, we go down. I'm not trying to share. I'm trying to get
serious. Like, we go together, but it's going to definitely be some extreme actions taking place now.
What I might go with you. You might not go with me. I'm not saying that the reason would change, but I am saying that some type of expectation.
Exactly. You calling me like, what you mean what I'm doing? I'm packing my stuff to get ready to move in your house. You know what I mean? And you sitting there like, this done gone out, left out her mind.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
There was another man
you
that said,
you went left in the
when
over.
she
That's
calls
the
to
head.
move in.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, and we always want to label each other and say, oh, all men are crazy. No, all the women is crazy. No, nobody is
Wait, so
crazy.
how many times are you let this guy do it to you and you don't come and you want to keep going back? That's the question.
It depends on why I'm doing it. It depends on why I'm doing it. If I'm doing it for a specific purpose, if I'm
like what?
Because I might be trying to get some things taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes and there are times in your life, and we've all done it. Sometimes we will reduce ourselves to certain things to get certain things done. You know what I mean? And we've all done it. You got to admit to it all day long. You ain't got, and then once you got what I got what I need to get done. Thank you very much.
Miss Young, listen, if you got some bills to be paid, step out of celibacy.
You know what I mean?
Get you some sex.
But it just depends on.
She good over there.
It just depends.
Miss Young, she ain't for it.
It just depends. I mean, how
so that's when you get into the situation. So now you doing it to shoot it just because you need your bills paid. So
it could be for whatever reason I so choose.
Right, but then you still have a void because you're either pulling out the toy or you gonna go to Wesley because you know Wesley gonna put it down and you gonna bust it up. So now you got 5 guys that make up your one universal guy.
But here we go, because now we're gonna go into the lane of judgment. My artillery and what I do with my itinerary that I had for my sexual conquest ain't none of nobody's business. If I decide that I want to have 5 or 10 of them to choose from, then it's 5 or 10 of them that I'm choosing from. And it's the same thing from a man's perspective. I'm not getting to choose, but if he say, I will say honesty can take you a long ways. If I ask you, well, are you, how, you date around or whatever, and you say, yeah, I see other people.
Men cannot.
You answer my question.
Men can't.
So now we ain't got to talk about nothing else. What's next? What's up? What you trying to do?
Men can't take that. Men cannot take that. They do not want to hear that you dating around. You haven't.
Women can't take that.
No, but it depends on who you talking to.
It's uncomfortable for you to say that to a woman because it's gonna be like, oh, he think he about to just try to smash me. Like that's how he coming. That's how he coming. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, is it okay for you to say that right now?
I'm trying to smash. We on the same page.
But say that first to me.
Left.
Say that first to me. Don't make me say that.
So what's the likelihood? Because I think
don't make me say it.
Don't make me say that.
But if you told me that you date, that you see other people, you ain't
gotta
gotta
say it.
Do it. You don't say it.
But down, man, I'm just trying to work out. You don't know what I want out of you. I'm just trying to smash. But if you say that, I
here's
can
the
say
thing:
it.
if you dating other people, baby, it ain't much you want out of me except a stage.
I'm looking for the one.
Because
I'm looking for the
It don't
one.
mean that. Like, why do women think that?
Why
do women think? No.
I mean,
I've been asked this recently. Why do women think you instantly supposed to just get rid of everybody? Like these positions, this is my personal opinion.
I didn't think that. And I
think these positions should be earned.
You say,
but you say, hold on, Smith, because you yourself said that if we start having sex, I cannot have sex with somebody else.
All right, that's different.
No, the fuck is not. If we dating around, we getting to know each other, we're dating.
I see you getting smacked up by a couple of joints. I'm good. If you having a couple conversations or texts or getting some dinner, but you getting smacked up,
right?
By 2 or 3 dudes, I'm good. You can ask me out.
Wait a minute, shoot,
Ask me out,
but that's the way women that had a problem with it. So if I need to use you for something, use you for something, use you for something, use you for something, I may have sex with more than one of y'all, but men can't, men cannot take that honesty. They just cannot. Men want to be
anonymous. Honesty. I don't want to even wife a woman that is even able to do that.
You're not jumping all the way to wife.
Just like you said that same thing to me. What if I tell you, like, listen, I'm going to keep it all the way 100 with you for real, and then I just got you home, we had a great night, listen, I got to go because it's Tuesday. I got a female that I usually see on Tuesday. I want to make it my Thursday. Like,
and then I'm gonna say, wait a minute, let me look. You said Thursday.
Well, Thursday don't really work for
me. Is booked up, but
what about Wednesday? I mean, we can negotiate because if you're being grown up and grown people,
if you have the grown up conversation,
no, because this is the thing.
Somebody talk to you like that, you gonna take that disrespect. You gonna take that?
No,
When
actually,
you start being honest,
I like that level of honesty only because. Again, this gives me
power.
You doing it anyway.
And no. And the reason is because it gives me options. It gives me options. That means that whatever you're doing, that's
Did we go together? I mean, that's are we in a relationship? Like, what are we just having sex, right? We just
it's my first date with you. I just got you home, but I want to let you know exactly what it is. This first date before we go on a second one. Listen, it's Tuesday. I wanted to go upstairs with you, but I got this Tuesday night. I can't get nothing with you tonight. I do got a free Thursday. You know what I mean? Is it possible I can make you my Thursday?
And I was just telling you, let me check my site.
You got my number though, right?
Yes, you got it, baby.
Grown people should be able to say that because my expectation cannot be we're just getting together, we're just getting to know each other, and we're monogamous. I'm only fucking you. Get out of here. Like, who even expects that? That doesn't even make sense.
When that shit said to me, I'll be like,
monogamy, I think, is a chosen way of life. I don't think humans are monogamous by nature. I just don't, male or female. So when I hear people saying, you shouldn't be sleeping with all these people, or you shouldn't be dealing with all these people. In my mind, I'm sitting there saying, who told you that? You know what I mean? Who told you that? Because we are not monogamous by nature. It's a thing that we choose. It's a behavior that we learn, and
it's been enforced on us because in some countries it's okay to have 6 and 7 wives.
You know what I mean?
It's embraced. It's
but where I'm mad at that is that in them same countries, those women can't have 600 or 700
husbands. I agree with that.
And that's where I got a problem with that. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with you saying, well, that's how I lived.
I don't think a woman should be getting smacked up by 5 different men.
But you shouldn't be getting smacked up by 5 different women.
He's not getting smacked up. And that's the whole
he's
going to smack it. The women, y'all fail to realize, y'all getting inserted in. We are doing the insertion. It's something different happening to you than it is happening to us. You get smacked up by 6 different joints.
That's a dirty job on both ends. Because what you
It ain't
driving into me, you take it home with you when it's all said and done. All of that don't get washed off in the shower.
Yeah, I ain't say that. It's 7 different joints driving up in her through the week. That ain't popping.
So, like I said, it's a lot harder for men to embrace the fact that they are not the only one than it is for the woman to know that she's not the only one. It's a lot harder for the men, definitely.
Yeah, because of the way, see how he put it? You being smacked up. Because men, I think, are so visual. They in their mind, they don't know what it is. That's what it is.
Hold up, they gonna wear you out?
Right. You just
I see the whole thing.
Right. And when you all are visual, they sort of we're doing the emotion piece about it, like, like he wanted all 5 of them, I mean,
and that's how my mind works. If I know she taught me off a certain way and she do it, and then I'm thinking like, dang, she be doing yo like that.
Right.
Like,
but see, I think I'm more like a man, more so in that sense, because when I think about it, I'm sitting up there thinking like, you really doing it with all 5 of them, like, because in my mind I'm like,
but we are adults.
See, for me, I get competitive too. Like, I get jealous. I'll be like,
well, guess what?
All these other fucking motherfuckers.
Make me Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
But what would it do for you to know what she needed with all of these people?
I mean, but I want to know. It makes me jealous and insecure now. I want to know. I want to know what the fuck am I not doing? Why can't I fill in? Like, what the fuck? These other motherfuckers doing that I'm not doing. Is something I can't do?
No. But I think that if you start off and you say y'all two get together, And she says, well, yeah, I like to date people sometimes. You say, yeah, me too. I date sometimes or whatever. But you never established who she was supposed to be to you at some point. Why are you questioning, asking about 3 or 4 times and you smacking it up? Why does she need all of these other men?
Communicate with you though, because if we
open like that, but you're not communicating right. But you're not communicating right. Because if you communicate with me right, you ain't got to ask me that later on down the line.
Listen, the way I communicate, I'm gonna straight say out the break like
exactly.
Yo, we fucking right. Yo, you say I'm fucking shit out you. I'm trying to figure out what is these other niggas doing? Because I don't really agree with you.
Are you paying the bills? Are you doing all
but then
I can do that. Tell me what they doing because I don't feel comfortable.
So now, hold on. So at this point, you draw me into another.
Can we work that out?
No.
If not, I gotta keep on.
So Snow just said men just can't handle the same shit that they put women through. Exactly. And that's the point that's being made right here, right now.
I just don't think, and again, it ain't about handling the same thing, because I'm not talking about treating people, me personally, I'm not talking about treating her bad, treating him good, and this, that. And I guess y'all can say it's a society label thing or whatever, it's just how I look at women, me personally, how I look at women. I don't think women should be out here having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sex partners. As a woman, I feel like she should value herself, her body, her temple, her mind, her vagina, her body. Like what like you just want to get smacked up. What is it about you that you just want to get ragdolled out here?
But then help me understand this, gentlemen. If you have that question in your mind about a woman, and you trying to, I guess, come to me, and because you're trying to get close to me,
exactly.
What makes you think that you're so different or you're so special, or what are you planning on giving me that
we haven't even established?
You're asking yourself in your mind, why do you need all of these people? But I have to ask you the same thing, like why are you asking me that? And if you can do what they can't do, show me. Don't ask me. Don't tell me. We don't need to have a conversation about that. Actions, baby, a demonstration of beat out a conversation any day.
No, but that's your personal opinion. But we saying that a woman, the way it used to be, stereotypically this was embedded in us. And to think this way. Women just value themselves a different way than they do today. It was like, what? This body of mine, I be goddamn, get up 2 minutes one time? You crazy? That's big. Nowadays, women see it like men see it. What? He can do what the fuck I cannot. They don't have the
that
same.
Right there, I hate that tit for tat mentality. I don't know why women have taken on that in such a high way. Oh, y'all can do it. Why can't we?
Y'all
I know
that.
That's
stereotype me as like we want to shit. Don't take on that ain't shit stereotype.
Maybe because I was raised a little differently, you know what I mean? And I didn't grow up in an environment like that. My mother was not one of those kind of women. My mother was very military like. You know what I mean? And so I didn't grow up with that. But as I got older, you know what I mean? And I
was like beat it up.
And I just decided, well, shit, I can do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Now I'm not under her rule or whatever. I'm going to do it how I want to do it. So in my mind, you see TV, you see your friends, and you like, damn, they doing all of that. Like, oh, I'm about to do the same.
That's what I'm saying. The different influences on the world has got all the women doing the same.
But what happens is some people like me, life sets in. Real life sets in. What happened? I graduated from college, and I became a mom. Not long after I graduated. Real life set in. So what I was doing when I was 17, 18, me and my homegirl, 16, 17 years old, I could no longer do as now I'm a mom. A single one at that. I had to think about what I was doing and who I was doing it with. That's where, but see, everybody does not get that. You have some women, it don't matter what they doing when they were 16, they still doing it at 36. Nothing has changed because the scenery, the people, the influences, the life experiences have not taught them or have not brought them to to that different aspect or brought them up on an elevated level to say to yourself, like,
The
look,
majority-
everybody
the majority-
like,
And the majority rules, because most of them like that.
and
The
I'm
majority rules.
not gonna label or discount a woman because she likes to have multiple partners. You know, you do what you like.
if he's not putting a ring on it, because that's the thing, y'all be girlfriends, and he put you in this monogamous situation. He ain't put no ring on it. You don't have no expectation. You don't have shit for this wet ass that he giving you and whatever else he has.
No, you owe it to me. You owe it to yourself. I don't give a goddamn about me. Fuck me. I'm saying it ain't about me.
It's like
I want the
nowadays
women
women
to
have lost their
value
own value. Is that what
Right.
you're saying?
What the fuck
It's
does that
not
do with me?
about the man.
I want you to kill.
The woman, why don't she have that same
Right.
value?
What the
Like,
fuck
I don't
does
have a daughter, but if I had a daughter, I want my
Because
daughter
I'm
to
like
value
that.
her body.
Right.
Yo,
This is
don't
all
you
typical.
nobody out here getting smacked by the whole block.
This is so precious to me.
The whole block and then just smacking you up.
I'm gonna teach my daughter that sex is also intertwined with spirit. It is not just physical. It's intertwined with spirit. You out here giving your spirit to all these things. You don't even fucking know their last name yet.
But that comes with a certain level of growth. Like I said, at a certain point, I became a mom, and so my mind.
But that was your path, right?
No,
That was
no,
the
no,
majority of the
no,
women
no,
right now.
no,
This
no,
ain't
no,
this ain't
no,
on
no,
you.
no,
Everybody
That's
does
in
not.
your own
Everybody does not have
pocket.
that experience. You know what I mean? Some people it takes them longer to get
No.
to that place than it does other people.
But that's your path. What we are saying, why aren't more women understanding and looking at it as, yo, it don't matter what this man is trying to do or talking about. If you had that own high level of self-worth and self-value, then a lot of these things wouldn't even be happening. I explain it like this. Hold on, pause. I'm gonna
Please,
let you really quick. I look at it like this sometimes. As being a man, I'm gonna just use numbers to explain real quick. We can use 100,000. On a scale of 0 to 100,000, out of that 100,000, it might be only 5,000 women out of that 100,000 that's making it hard for us to obtain them. The 95,000 out of that 100, you can just smack them up with freely. Why are y'all carrying yourselves that way? And this is coming from men.
Right.
We're not talking about what y'all saying.
Right.
We're saying as men. Why are women carrying themselves that from 0 to 100,000, you just getting smacked up?
Wait a minute, but we said
Oh, let's not say
but we said-
y'all don't see that. Y'all don't
we
see
said
that.
that. But guess what? We said it earlier.
Y'all getting smacked up out there.
Remember when we talked about
Get
earlier?
smacked up.
When we talked about
What about choice?
influences, talking about your environment, your raising, your community.
That's what y'all talking about. I talk about taking responsibility.
No, what I'm saying is,
but
what we're saying is, if you're going to ask a question like that and look at the surroundings and look what's out there, look what's influencing these women, look what's influencing these young ladies. And then you say, why do you want to carry yourself like that? But if that's all they see, and you don't have enough of the counterpart
I get that,
describe
right?
it and say to them,
That's
lady,
what it all entwined.
it's something out here better than this.
But
You don't
even
have
the
to
grown
show
women
about it.
still talk about getting smacked up.
But guess what? We said it earlier. Your influence, when whoever is talking to you when you 5, and the same people that's talking to you when you 25.
But even the ones that say they learned from it, they still
telling
telling you to get smacked
No,
up.
but this is the thing.
But let me tell you something, Wesley. I get how you feel about that, babe. But I will say to you, you know what I mean? Because you're too young to be so wound up about it. I'm telling you, I'm getting ready to tell you why. Because for one thing, you're about to have a coronary.
No, I'm not.
And number
That's
two,
who I am.
and I don't want you to go off this planet. So
So
you
I
gotta stay on the show.
She trying to be funny, but she don't know it's me.
Listen to
I'm
me.
always like this.
I know you are.
Listen,
And I think
y'all,
it's
y'all
really
know
cute.
she in the last.
But I will say this: the reason why you got to give some leeway here. If you know that most of what's going on out here is based on the makeup of our homes, the makeup of our
Telling
families.
you like the last 30 seconds.
You cannot go to them and blast them. And why are you doing that?
Who said we doing that?
You just
We asking y'all.
We talking,
why
y'all.
you
I'm not
doing
talking to people on the street.
We
I'm
asking
talking to you, educated women. Y'all saying the same thing.
But here's the thing. You're asking educators. You're asking.
Yo, y'all just made nothing but excuses as 2 educated grown women. I'm not talking to young girls on the block. I'm talking to 2 women, and y'all said smack me up.
Y'all still
So
giving
women,
excuses.
first of all, y'all didn't even let me say what I wanted to say. And now we get right in the show, and that's why I said I knew that this was going to take up a lot of time. But what I'm saying is I should be able to choose what it is that I want to do, especially when it's not even that you're giving me all of the things that I'm desiring. If all you can give me is sex, let me make that choice for myself. Mm-hmm. Don't put a label on me and say I have less respect for myself when I know all your worth is sex.
What about me? Don't take me out that way, man.
Right, I did.
What about
you are out of the equation, and it's my choice.
Right, but you
it's my choice. I can do with my cooter what I want to do.
Forget your cooter. You're self-worth. You can come outside. I want to do this. You can tell me. I'm not restricting your choices. You can do whatever you please in life.
You are, because if you tell me you
I
are.
don't know why.
If I want you to be, my choice is I want you to be Mr. Wednesday. How are you out here telling me, oh no, I can't just be Mr. Wednesday, make me your ex?
I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna hit you on Wednesday. But I'm gonna be confused about you think it's okay to be hit on Wednesday. I'm gonna
that's my choice.
But why? That's what we're trying to ask you. Why? What happened?
You don't have to
but guess
it
what?
wasn't like that before.
But it's for the same reason that you chose to smack her up on Wednesday. Because you chose.
No, like I said, that's stereotype. The stereotype the man had, it was a bad stereotype. Don't want to be like men. It was a bad stereotype they gave us when they said that. Men ain't shit, man, dog. That was a bad. Don't want to be like us.
And you want to live
you want to be a dog too?
I want to get what it is that I want. That's what I'm saying.
That's a bad stereotype. Don't want to be a dog too. That's not
I don't
entertain
stereotypes. I don't entertain labels simply because I have a name.
Keep it on Facebook.
I have a gender. I have a title at work. So the labeling, the putting me in a box because this is the way that I choose to do things, I don't entertain it, and I'm not offended by it. I allow people to feel how they want to feel.
I swear y'all have not answered the question.
Yes, we did.
Y'all have danced around it. Ain't been no answers.
But I'm gonna tell you why it's not going to be an answer. Who answered? Because it's not one. There is no answer for you to get. It's going to have to go down to that. It's going to have to go down to this. What kind of woman you looking for?
Not one that's been smacked up.
Then that's the one you gonna find, boo-boo. Don't have no coronary worrying about them ones that you said you don't like.
The thing.
Don't bring these topics up if y'all can't answer the question.
No.
If y'all be wanting to grill men, we'll give y'all our perspective as men. Y'all dance around while y'all want to dance up on the regular. Don't label me because I'm got a good job. We talking about why you love this man.
You said one person for the word.
But
You know why it's like that?
But you never answered us. When we said what was wrong with it, where's the wrong in it?
So listen, you know why? Because this question
is it wrong?
Wait a minute. This discussion we having is opinionated for all our opinions. It's me and his opinion. We don't like it. It's disgusting to us. So we only speaking on why we think it's disgusting. That disgust made us question y'all, two intelligent women. Why y'all think the world is like this now? Not saying there's a problem with y'all, whoever's on it, but we don't like it. So we don't question y'all why.
You don't like answer your own question
because see what we doing.
No, I'm not.
See what we
The
doing.
way I was raised, the way it was embedded in me back when I was younger.
See what we're
we wasn't doing that.
We see what we're doing though. We information sharing.
Because also
with information sharing.
Right.
You asking about the world. You got to
depend on their husbands back in the day. Men were everything to women back in the day. Things were a lot different back in the day. Now that women can freely choose what it is that they're going to do, and they don't have to depend on this man for the next time they'll eat, they should have the freedom of choice without being criticized for it. If you don't want to be Mr. Wednesday, I have to respect that. But a lot of times people aren't even talking and communicating enough to know that you're Mr. Wednesday. I'm not going to tell you intentionally, oh yeah, you're Mr. Wednesday. But we should be having that discussion and conversation. Are you dating or having sex with anybody else? If that's what you're doing, let's be honest and upfront about it. But the point that I was making is that men are not okay with it. Men cannot be okay with it. Women are more likely and more inclined to agree that, okay, we understand. We're trying to get to know each other. At this point, like you even said, why do women want men to cut all their women off? Why do men expect women to cut all their friends off?
We told you why, because it's stereotypically better than us.
But that's not our problem, that's yours.
In the world,
doesn't mean
in the
you're
world.
right.
But
It
it's your
doesn't mean
problem.
in the world that men are dogs. Men are dogs. Men ain't shit.
So that don't mean I have to accept it and be okay with it.
Dogs are loyal. I definitely don't see you that way. Dogs are loyal to their rightful owners. So I don't see you that way. I try not to label men. I don't want to label men, and I definitely don't want to stereotype or put men in the box. I love the idea of just meeting people and feeling the different personalities for people to see why they think the way they think, how they came to be who they were. Whether I stay friends with them or not, that's one thing or another. If not, but hey.
No, I'm saying you off of Facebook.
No.
I mean, it is what it is. We can sit up there all day long, keep saying why. It really doesn't matter why. If you see it differently or you think it could be better, if you're not willing to show
And you never ask